the rate limiter for my scale at each stage has been information. When you get to that roadblock, it's going to reduce the time it takes to bust through it. It's going to reduce the stress. It's your fucking habits that build the outcome, nothing more. The rate limiter for my scale at each stage has been information, right? So i.e., knowing how to solve a problem, knowing how to set up a sales funnel, knowing how to do paid advertising, knowing how to be a better leader, knowing how to project manage things within my business. So I've always, like, how I went from that trainer in 2002 to 10 years later being the highest paid trainer in Australia and having people from around the world wanting to travel and learn from me was because during that window, I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into courses, into personal development, into workshops. I mean, I just came from a meeting right now with my mentor who's based here in Newcastle. He's one of Tony Robbins' business partners, done a lot of stuff with him over the years. I practice what I preach, right? The difference is now, like, my mentorship, costs 6 figures plus per annum.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you as you kind of move, I don't like using the word move up the food chain, but as you, like, we've all got a mission or a goal or something in life. And some of us are more clear on that than others. But the bigger the mission, the bigger the intention, there are roadblocks along the journey that are going to stop you from reaching it. And there's always a problem. There's always a person that has experienced that problem before you. Does that make sense?
Yes,
so if you can seek them out and get guidance from them, when you get to that roadblock, it's going to reduce the time it takes to bust through it. It's going to reduce the stress that it takes to bust through it. So I have not been without a mentor or development literally my entire adult life.
Wow.
20 plus straight years, there's always been someone that I've been paying for advice and going to, and it's changed. Like, as I've grown my business and grown my brand, the people that I seek out is different. And it's also changed from, initially being more business focused, or initially actually it was more subject matter expertise, right? Like becoming the best practitioner, to then business to now it's, and then from business to more personal development. Whereas now it's a blend of both. Now I have someone that can kind of help from a personal development standpoint to be a better husband, to be a better father, to be a better leader, be an entrepreneur. But then I've also got someone that can commercially give me guidance on making good decisions within my business.
Massive. And there's a few things we'll drill in each of those parts, because there's a lot of value in each. The mentoring part and the self-education piece, I think, gets overlooked. And also, you said you were your own handbrake at different tiers of business.
Yeah, 100%.
And 1,000,000%. A lot of times early on, it might be, if someone was lucky enough to have, say, the business background early on, then that won't be their handbrake, but it might be the personal work. Having to do so, there might be some blockages and things in their own behavioral they need to address first to get to the next level, because you'll see it, and especially once you start employing staff and other people.
I see it right now. We've just had one of our team members that is obviously moving on, and one of their rate limiters has been they're amazing at business, but from a personal development side, they need to evolve in that space, and they're finding that quite hard to do. And so I see that with a lot of kind of entrepreneurs or even intrapreneurs. It's like, it's not their skill at business that's limiting them. It's the way they react to situations. It's the way they communicate with other people. It's the habits. I was literally just speaking with my mentor there about James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits.
Yes.
Right? It's like, it's your fucking habits that build the outcome, nothing more. So if you wake up every day and you go straight into a flight or fight situation, if you don't take time to mentor and develop people, if you don't take time to improve yourself, then how the fuck are you meant to reach your mission, your goal? You've got to build daily habits, small wins, small ticks on the board to kind of help you get there.
I think that's massive in the areas, and that has a beautiful parallel to, because I agree in business, you're right. You need to, if you want to try and take someone to the move, if you've got a North Star, you want a whole team to march towards, you've got to be very, very clear on what that is. And that clarity can be confronting for people, because you have to drill down a number of layers and go from and the scale obviously changes with you. So you said before, you go from different layers and go from single site to multi, to mentoring lots of people, to large teams, to a portfolio. You've got, one staff to 5 to 10 to 50 and so on. Each one of those demands a different degree of clarity, and also with yourself, I suppose when you say habits, that's a perfect one, because the parallel that then draws to the everyday person listening to this, who might be going, look, I'm still in the early stages of that. I'm a face-to-face PT. There's great parallels there.
I'll give you an example like habits. So in 2015, I lost about $2.5 million in my gym businesses because I'd taken my eye off the ball. I wasn't being a clear and concise enough leader. and my management team wasn't executing for me the way they could have because of my drawbacks, right? And then there were some other things that we were going through. And so long story short, I ended up losing millions of dollars, liquidating that business. And at the time when that happened, it was my first loss in life, like from a business standpoint. And it was a massive slap to the ego. I literally like reacted to that from a place of anger, frustration, lashing out on other people. You did it, blah, blah, blah. It was your fault, blah, blah, blah. And so I was habitually programmed and trained to react to it from a place of stress. If I look at over the last year, we've acquired, about 5 or 6 different companies and started up another 2. One of those businesses I've actually lost $1.5 million on over the last 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So, but my approach with it now, and you could probably even just see in my face, is like, cool. That's like, with great risk sometimes comes great risk. But not just that. I choose to react to this differently, saying, you know what, I chose to do that. That's my responsibility, and basically dealing with it from a place of, okay, well, now I'm not going to react to that. I'm just going to deal with it, come up with some solutions to kind of, fix that problem rather than kind of react to it and be in a place of stress or fight or flight. I'm actually completely accepting of it.
That's a massive lesson, mate. I think, and the failures, if you can reframe each one as a lesson, you'll be able to make peace with it a lot easier. Right?
And that's the thing. I was actually like, even my wife said to me, she's like, I'm really proud of, like, she's like, compared to the last time you lost millions in a business thing,
This time, bro. Yeah, I love that. It's becoming a repetition now. Time around.
Yeah. But the difference now, like last time when I'd lost it was all in the main thing. This time it's siloed. This time it doesn't bleed out other things. So it's like, cool, but it's all context. Like, in January I did $1 million in profit plus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like.
It is. And it's fun, man. But it's relatable to the average because the principles are the same, right? Whether the business does $1 million a year, $1 million a month, or whether it's doing, $5,000 a month, it doesn't matter. The principles are always very much there. The personal limitations, the ability to build habits that will support you, being able to approach that from a certain place of composure. Because I think there's a lot.
It's composure. And that's, I think, one of the things that I've had to learn, like, because I get a lot of people like, oh, wow, you've gone from 6 to 7 to multi-7 to 8 to multi-8, blah, blah, blah. Like, how have you done that? And I'm like, honestly, outside of skill stacking, the number one thing that has helped me kind of ascend the ladder is I'm just a better leader. Right? Because I think if you're growing a business to a certain, especially at rapid scale, right? You talk about acquisitions and whatnot. It's almost like being in a wartime environment, right? So if you're in a wartime environment where people are shooting you and stuff like that, do you want a leader that is going to look at that and say, go like this? Cool, that was a bullet. Or do you want someone that's going to be fucking in there, crying? You know what I mean? Like, you need to, I think as you go through the layers of leadership, and entrepreneurism is almost the best playground to kind of test this thesis and to go through it, isn't it just? You need to remain cool under pressure, right? So you can still have the passion and the fire and fucking rah, rah, rah.
You got to temper
but like
it,
when shit's hitting the fan, when you're losing $1.5 million in 4 months, like, how are you reacting to that?
It is the best environment for it, is it? Because you don't get an opportunity in any other part of your life really to play high stakes poker, but also have to learn massive lessons at the same time.